Recently, the folks over at Line 6 were kind enough to send over one of their HX1 effects pedals for me to try out. And I did do a video that I will have in a card up here if you want to check that out. It was sort of my first introduction and first look at it. Now that I've had some time with it, I wanted to do a video showing you just how powerful the HX1 can be if we combine it with the built-in MIDI capabilities. It really does unlock many, many possibilities when we actually pair it up with the proper MIDI controller. And my MIDI controllers of choice, anybody who follows my channel knows that I love utilizing the Morningstar FX MIDI controllers. I have the MC8, the MC6 Mark II, the MC6 Pro, which the folks over at Morningstar were kind enough to send to me some time ago. Really wonderful products, and I'm going to show you how easy they are to use and how well they pair up with the HX1 today. So without further ado, I think you're going to find this quite interesting. For any folks who haven't thought of utilizing MIDI with their HX1, this may just change your mind. I hope you enjoy. All right, so here we are over looking at our HX1. You may notice, depending on how I edit this, is up here, possibly off screen, I have it hooked up to a Morningstar MC6 Mark II MIDI controller. I currently use the MC6 Pro as my main MIDI controller on my main live board, and it is spectacular. I think you're going to see why today when I take you through their editor and show you just how easy it is to program these to work with various devices and just how many options we actually have. But today we're going to be showing you how to utilize it and some of the possibilities to really unlock the power of the HX1. So let's do this. Let's head over to the Morningstar MIDI editor, which you can download from their website. One of the things that scares people a lot about utilizing MIDI is not knowing how to keep track of CC numbers and minimum and maximum values and whatnot. We're constantly trying to download the user's manual for a particular device like the HX1 to find out what we can control and what numbers we need. Well, the folks at Morningstar have really kind of done a great thing here. If you notice up here in the editor, we go over to MIDI Dictionary, and we can go to select device. And when we do that, it gives us a seemingly endless list of company names here. And then if we choose one of those, you can kind of see that they've loaded all of the MIDI dictionary information into. So let's just take a look here. We'll go down, since we're dealing with line 6 HX1, let's find line 6. You'll see here that it has all the information to control all of these devices by MIDI, but we're on HX1 here, and I'll select that. I already had that selected as I was getting this set up for this video. So now what it shows you here is all of the possibilities of what we can control on the HX1 via MIDI. Now, one thing we are going to have to do is to go into our global settings and scroll over until we see where we are for MIDI and what we want to control. We are going to want to set this to the same MIDI channel, obviously, as our Morningstar FX MIDI controller. I'm going to be utilizing MIDI channel 1 for today, and I'll get back out of that. I already have that set up, so that's great. So let's start from the top here. It shows us that we can emulate the on switch, emulate the flux switch, emulate the expression pedal, bypass or engage, which is going to be similar to emulating the on switch. We can enter tap tempo. We can control all the various parameters. We can do the flux on time or the flux on curve, flux off time. These are all controllable via MIDI. Same with the looper. We can control a looper. So how do I utilize this? Well, let's say, first of all, we'll start off simple here. Let's say we want to emulate this on and off switch so that we just bypass or engage the actual HX1. So I have it engaged right now, but I can simply copy this, and it's going to tell me that's CC number 1, minimum value of 0, maximum value of 127. It says here if the effect is off, any CC value will turn it on. If the effect is on, any CC value will turn it off. So I've copied this. I can then come over to my preset, come to message 1, and paste that in. You'll see it pre-fills all of the forms. Now I do have to select an action. I obviously want that to be when I press the foot switch. And it's put in the CC number I need, the values that I need to basically emulate this on-off switch, which we can see right here. I press on and off. So I do have to save the preset, but once I do that and it confirms that it's been saved, I can now go over to my Morningstar MIDI controller, and this simply now will control the on-off state of the HX1. So that was very simple. I'm going to clear that. We'll save it, and we'll try something else here. So let's come back over to our MIDI dictionary. We can emulate the flux switch. So again, if I come over here and I copy this, head back over here, paste it, assign the, no, I don't want the release. I want the press action, and save that. You're going to now see when I press that button that the flux button is going on and off. and it's showing you how those parameters are going to be controlled. Really, really simple. Another little side point is I don't really have any particular effect chosen here. It doesn't really matter. This is the same thing is going to apply to every single effect or preset that we utilize here. So let's clear that again. We'll come back to our MIDI dictionary. We can emulate the expression pedal. We could also do a bypass or engage separately. Let's copy this one. I'm going to show you something a little neat here. I could paste that in here and say that when I press this, and you'll notice what it said is that bypass is going to be the numbers 0 to 63 for the values, and engage is going to be 64 to 127. So I could come in here and say, you know, I want this to be bypassed, and I'll save that. Now, if I have this on and I come over and press this, you'll see it turns it off, but it doesn't do anything else because I've only programmed it to turn it off, to bypass. So if I copy this, paste it down here, but set this value to engage, we'll just go all the way up to 127. We have this really great feature on the Morningstar MIDI controllers, and that's to toggle between two states. Right now, even though I've saved that, you'll notice it turns it on, but it doesn't turn it back off. It's kind of triggering both of these at the same time. If I turn toggle mode on, meaning it's going to toggle between these two settings, go to the toggle position, set 1 to number 1, 1 to number 2, and save that. I can now use this switch again, just like I did when it was emulating the engage. We may just want it to engage an effect and not toggle it for whatever reason we want, but we have the option to do all of this. Now I'm just going to clear that preset. I can double click up here and it clears, and we'll save that. The other thing I can do is send on press simple program change messages as well. So you'll see here PC number 0. I could save that, and then when I press that switch, you're going to see that we switch to a whole different preset on our HX1. If I set that to number 1, that switch would now switch over to that next preset. So I could have this so that, you know, if I wanted PC number 1 for this A switch on my Morningstar, and I copy this, I go to the B switch, I could paste that there and say I want it to go to PC number 11 for this switch, and then I go to my C switch and paste that again, but I want to go to PC number 118. We can jump all over the place with these different switches. You'll notice now if I switch between 1, 2, 3, I get whatever preset I want on my HX1. So we see that we can easily switch between different patches or presets on our HX1 as well. Now, I've just cleared those out. Now, the other thing we can do, and one of the features that so many folks really love on the HX1 is this flux feature where we can morph between different preset settings. It is a very, very cool feature. You can see when I press this, it kind of moves my feedback and my time and whatnot. I can change that to go quickly, to go slow, but there's nothing stopping us from using that. Like we said, we can emulate that switch with one of the switches on our Morningstar MIDI controller. But what if we wanted even more control over those parameters? Well, we can easily do that utilizing, and I'm just going to come back over here to preset A, we'll save that so it's blank. We can actually control the parameters and assign those parameters to switches on our Morningstar MIDI controller. So for instance, let's come here and say, when we press, I would like a control change message, and I go to my MIDI dictionary and I say, I want to control parameter 1, which is going to be whatever this parameter is right over here. So in this case, it's going to be gain on the vital distortion. We'll apply that. And now I'm going to have a value here, obviously 0 being it turned off. So gain down to 0. So let's do this. Let's save that as a preset. Now let's see what happens when I press that button. You'll notice the gain goes down to 0, but when I press it again, it's just stuck there at 0. It's not doing anything else. So what I can do is use this toggle mode again and say, you know, for position 1, I want it to be 0. We'll copy this, we'll paste it over here. But let's say for position 2, I would like this to go up to maybe halfway. So between 0 and 127, so somewhere around, let's say 63. Or 62. We'll start there. We'll save preset on that. Since we have our toggle mode on now, you can see that we're going to now go between the 0 setting on the gain And another setting that we're not necessarily 100% sure of, but you see it is. It's right at 5. If I wanted that to be a little higher, maybe to 6, I'm going to have to do a little bit of guesswork since it is MIDI. But let's see what that does. We go up to 73, and you'll now see that we are set up around 5.6. We might have to play around with it. Let's say you wanted that right at 6 or something along those lines, right? We can play around with that, and we can see that. 6.2. We can basically tweak this until we get it, but we're probably going to be able to guess pretty close to where we are. There we are, right around 6 for that. Now, we could say, well, what if we want even more positions? Well, the Morningstar folks have built in some very cool features in here. Let's do the same thing here. Let's copy this. We'll paste it here. Let's say we wanted another ability to max that gain out, but we don't want to just press. We're going to do this on a long press. So we'll save that preset. So you'll notice that if I just press, I go between the two first settings. But now if I long press, that is going to jump all the way up to the full amount. I can go between those two, long press, and it's going to jump all the way up to its highest setting. Now, if we go to our controller settings, you'll see that the fastest setting is 100. And like I said, we can kind of see what that is here. If I long press this, it does jump up. It seems to be about a second. So you might find that a little long, but we also have other options. So I could set that as double tap, change this to both positions, save it. Now you'll notice that when I bounce between these two that we originally had set, but now when I double tap, I go straight to the higher setting that I had set. So we do have a lot of options here. Now, the other thing is we don't even have to just stop there. I could say that, let's paste that again, that let's say on position 1, when we had this setting, I also wanted to utilize the next parameter control. We could open our MIDI dictionary, but what you're going to see here is parameter 1 is using a CC value of 21, parameter 2 is 22, and so on and so forth. So I could just come in here and say parameter 2 now, I want to control the filter along with the gain. So basically over here, when this is on 0, let's say that I wanted that second parameter to be in the middle. And I say, okay, that's going to be on position 1. And then we'll copy that and we'll paste it. And I say that on position 2, I want it when the value is at 76 here for the gain. I want this one to jump all the way to full. I'm just picking arbitrary numbers here. I save that preset. Now you'll notice that when I press this, not only is the first parameter working, but both parameters are going between different settings. And we can continue this on almost indefinitely here. If I move to the next parameter, right, and I could say maybe that on position 1. And the copy and paste feature is so nice here that it allows us to make edits very quickly. Let's save that. And now you'll see that all 3 of those different parameters are working together now. And like I showed you, is we have the ability to control up to 24 parameters, plus all of these other things that are in the list here. We can control our looper and so on and so forth. And we would make those assignments, much like I'm showing here. And we can choose how we want it to be triggered. So that's not going to show you absolutely everything that this can do. Just want to spark your imagination to think that paired up with a Morningstar MC6 and an HX1 on your pedal board, it really does unlock the power of the HX1 and give us a lot more options to be able to control it. So the fact that it is just that one single effect at once might be an issue for some folks, but I think by unlocking the power of it with something like a Morningstar MC6 or MC6 Pro or MC8, you will get a lot more out of your HX1. All right, there you have it. What do you guys think? I hope that that was at least somewhat helpful in kind of sparking some new ideas, or maybe encouraging you to try MIDI with your HX1. Obviously, you could use any MIDI controller out there. I highly recommend the Morningstar FX MIDI controllers. They are so useful, so easy to program, and make life so easy. I'm able to program my boards very quickly for any situation I need live. So I hope that that was helpful. I hope you guys enjoy. I thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate you sharing your time with me. I'm going to leave you with a little demo video for one of my latest Line 6 Helix presets, which is available at the link in the description, available at my website. I hope you enjoy the music. Please like the video, share it with anybody you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Ciao for now.